For nearly 20 years the police were chasing the wrong thing. The killer was not hiding from the media, he was using it, and that decision kept him free longer than anyone imagined. For nearly 2 decades a killer remained free not because he was invisible but because he understood how attention worked and how easily it could be shaped, long before algorithms existed, long before social media, long before outrage cycles. He learned that newspapers and television could become weapons more powerful than any bomb. Between 1978 and 1995 a series of bombings spread fear across the United States. The targets appeared random at first: universities, airlines, technology companies, scientists, executives, and individuals connected to modern industry. Each attack left behind confusion, injuries, destruction, and death. Investigators searched desperately for patterns, but the devices were carefully built, consistent in construction, methodical in execution. Whoever was responsible was patient, disciplined, and highly intelligent. Every component chosen with purpose, every delay intentional. With no clear suspect, the FBI created a task force and gave the unknown attacker a name: Unabomber, short for university and airline bomber. The media later gave him another name, one that would become infamous: the Unabomber. 4 years the killer avoided capture. He left no fingerprints, no witnesses, no obvious trail. But he was not silent. He was watching every headline, every broadcast, every expert panel discussing his actions. Unlike many criminals who fear exposure, this killer craved it. He did not hide from the media, he studied it. He understood timing, language, and impact. Anonymous letters began arriving at newspapers and television stations. The tone was cold, calculated, and ideological. He wrote about technology, industrial society, and what he believed was the destruction of human freedom. He framed himself not as a murderer but as a reluctant revolutionary, someone forced into violence by a broken world, and slowly the media began to echo his framing, whether intentionally or not. Each time his words were published, his reach expanded far beyond what any explosive device could accomplish. Fear spread across the country, but so did his ideas. Investigators recognized the danger. Every article, every mention, every debate helped keep the killer relevant and in control, but ignoring him felt impossible in a media environment driven by fear and urgency. As years passed, the bombings continued sporadically, unpredictable in timing but consistent in intent. The killer wanted attention but also distance, visibility but also mystery. By the late 1980s the case had grown cold in some ways and hotter in others. It became one of the longest and most expensive manhunts in FBI history, yet still there was no arrest, no clear suspect, no face. Agents reviewed thousands of tips, followed countless dead ends. Careers were spent chasing a man who seemed to exist only through explosions and words. Then in 1995 everything changed. The Unabomber sent a letter to major newspapers containing an ultimatum: publish my manifesto or the violence will continue. The document was long, over 35,000 words, dense, complex, obsessive, and filled with ideological rage. Law enforcement faced an impossible decision. Publishing the manifesto meant giving a platform to a killer, legitimizing his voice. Refusing could mean more deaths. After intense debate, authorities allowed the manifesto to be published, not as surrender but as strategy, hoping someone somewhere would recognize the writing. This decision saved lives. Because the manifesto was not just ideology, it was personal. The language was distinctive, the sentence structure rigid, repetitive, obsessive, the tone familiar to someone who had seen it before. That person was David Kaczynski, Ted Kaczynski's brother. As he read the manifesto he felt something terrifying: recognition. The arguments, the phrasing, the hostility toward technology were identical to letters he had received for years. The realization was slow and devastating. After careful consideration and with the help of his wife, he contacted authorities, quietly providing copies of old letters written by his brother, unsure of what it would lead to. Investigators compared the documents line by line. Linguists analyzed syntax, vocabulary, rhythm, and structure. The similarities were undeniable. The words matched. With this breakthrough, the FBI focused their attention on a remote cabin in Montana where Ted Kaczynski lived, completely off the grid. No electricity, no running water, no phone. In April 1996, federal agents surrounded the cabin. prepared for violence but encountering none. Inside they found bomb components, drafts of the manifesto journals filled with dates, targets and reflections, a written history of nearly 20 years of terror. Ted Kaczynski was arrested without resistance, after nearly 2 decades on the run. In court the evidence was overwhelming, the writings, the materials, the timelines all aligned perfectly. Kaczynski eventually pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case was officially closed, but its implications remain. This investigation proved that the killer stayed free not because he avoided attention but because he mastered it. He used newspapers, television, and public fear as tools, manipulating the media to spread misinformation, distract investigators, and amplify his ideology. And in the end, the very thing that protected him became the thing that exposed him. Because language leaves fingerprints, and someone always recognizes the voice. If this story stayed with you, support the channel by liking the video and subscribing for more real investigations.